Alright everyone, we start off today with a rather important article with regards to the massive political scandal unfolding in Virginia. You now have 4 or 5 different individuals about which there's some sort of scandal going on, from one of the police sergeants involved with I think, guarding Northam protests, the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general. I think a couple others have been implicated at this point. Spiraling out of control, like all 3 of their top executive level politicians should resign. Under the auspices of what the Democrats have rambled about for years, these 3 Democrats should be out now, shouldn't they? Like, they're like, oh, blackface. It's like, haven't there been people like some comedian, puts on blackface 30 years ago, gets completely trashed today because of some of these sort of, witch hunt social justice movements? So where's the outrage over Northam having done the same thing, or certainly their attorney general, whose name escapes me at the moment? Now we've got a second allegation against their lieutenant governor, Fairfax. Now remember, big mistake. In the immediate wake, first 24, 48 hours of the Northam scandal, Northam had blackface on 30 years ago, big problem, and people are like, well, we can get him to resign. And that's okay, the Democrats said. Because the next in line, lieutenant governor, is basically, he has the same ideas. Also, he's black, and he's liberal. He's a Democrat, so it wouldn't matter, really. We just have to get a new lieutenant governor, because he would ascend to that position. Maybe does the attorney general automatically bump up to lieutenant governor, or do you have a snap election, or what the fuck? I don't even know. But now Fairfax, it came out in 2004, there was a sex assault allegation against him. Some legacy media outlets, the same outlets that ran with the Covington story within 10 fucking minutes without fact-checking, refused to even report on this because they're like, well, the allegation's not credible. It's not credible, so we're not even going to report on it. No, what you should be doing, if you're being honest, which, of course, the BuzzFeeds and Wall Street Journals of the world aren't, what they would do is say, well, this allegation came out of the woodwork then, it's being reported on now. We don't find it to be credible, but you have a right. Yes, the public has the right to know there is an allegation there. The claim that there is an allegation is 100% objectively credible. It simply objectively has been made. Now you have a second allegation, and this one is apparently a former friend and goes to the year 2000. So again, it's fairly contemporary to the time of the first allegation that was made, the 2000s. Is it credible? I have no way of knowing. And I'm not going to crucify the guy. For instance, I don't think if there's an allegation against someone and there's no real corroboration of it, they shouldn't go to jail. They shouldn't be subject to civil litigation. But in the court of public opinion, if you are taxpayer-funded individual, not a private citizen, not average Joe Schmo, you've been elected to a position and you're being paid by the people at large, I think that they would have a right to weigh in, number one. Number two, if they think that it's credible, yeah, it might be a lynch mob mentality, it might be a witch hunt mentality, but the thing is, it doesn't really matter. Their opinions aren't going to change. If you look at polling in the wake of Northam's scandal, which is a step behind any Me Too related problems, blackface is still, thankfully, the one bit of sanity in the country. Having worn blackface 30 years ago weighed against having sexually assaulted several people, considered less problematic. There are still calls for him to resign. Even Northam, I think, has come out and said Fairfax should resign. Which, I mean, he should. People in the wake of that crucified Northam. Imagine how much more support Fairfax loses. And it's a second allegation. It corroborates the first, at least in the minds of the public. Now, of course, what I would say is, unless you're getting up into Bill Cosby numbers of people, I don't consider them to be corroborating at all, because you have someone in politics, they're well known, they get a lot of money, potentially, because they're in politics, because they do backroom deals and make millions of dollars selling political favors. Yeah, somebody wants a slice of the litigation pie, maybe. It's like a lightning rod for such allegations when they get into these positions. You have one allegation, you tend to get more. I do not choose to believe that every allegation is automatically #believer. If you don't, you're a sexist. I don't believe in that. But there are many people that will believe that. Why is Fairfax still in there? Why hasn't he fucking resigned? And why is Northam not gone? The only one there that has, I think, any claim to stay in their position is, oddly enough, the Attorney General, because he came out willingly and said, look, yeah, I wore blackface a while ago. It was for a rap event. I like Grandmaster Flash, the running joke. So please don't, hate me too much. He came out and admitted it. It's long ago, and it's like, okay, maybe, who cares? Although he's the AG of a state, he's involved with prosecuting people and stuff. You can't have any racial animus and be in a position like that. Just a terrible idea. It's like, oh yeah, this Supreme Court judge dressed up as a Klan member once. I think that'd be a problem. Can you imagine, by the way, the Democrats' fury if Kavanaugh had been involved in anything like that? They tried to crucify that dude. Didn't want him to have his day in court, which is funny because now he's on the Supreme Court. And I don't see nearly as much ire directed towards Fairfax. The Republicans are opportunistically the ones beating on the Me Too drum this time, which it happens. They did it with Al Franken too. That's like, you know, are there going to be more allegations? Number one, I would say would be interesting. Number two, are the Democrats fucking completely insane? Why aren't they they should be putting so much pressure on these three that they can't help but resign. Yeah, offer them money to leave. That's what the Democrats should do. You are going to destroy your 2020 chance of winning Virginia. If Virginia flips red for Donald Trump, he has won the election. It will become a national story on a level you can't even conceive of. He'll use it in campaign ads. The Republicans on the ground will use it. You won't be able to Ed Gillespie the next challenger. You're not going to be able to do that because people will be cracking Northam jokes the whole day. Oh yeah, the Democrats really love racial togetherness and equality and, you know, bullshit like that. They really like all this stupid shit. That's why they wear blackface all the time. That's why they pose people in a Klan costume. Again, I still have not received corroboration that that wasn't an actual Ku Klux Klan member. You know, the first assumption as well. You know, it's some racial get up at a you know frat party or something like that. Okay, if it was a Michael Jackson sing along, why is there someone dressed as a Klan member there? Yeah, that really gets your noggin jogging now, doesn't it? Why? At a Michael Jackson event, yes, I'm sure. Michael Jackson was the talk of the town at the time. Even white supremacists listened to his music. Yeah, I'm not thinking so. I'm not thinking this has anything to do with Michael Jackson. The white fedora, trilby hat, or whatever the fuck Michael Jackson wore around that era aside. Jesus. I can't even imagine how dumb these people are. No, I'm not Fairfax and stuff. I guess he's just allegedly a pervert or something. No, I'm talking about the Virginia Democratic leadership. Like when they at first half-heartedly attempted to circle the wagons around Northam. That fell through real quick. There wasn't enough communication. They should have told Northam, okay, you've apologized now, just let the issue rest. Don't talk about it anymore. No, please, Mr. Northam, do not backtrack the next day and suggest it wasn't you. And for God's sakes, don't suggest that you can still moonwalk and then try to do it across stage. That's not a good idea, Mr. Governor. He failed completely. Fairfax, he's now got 2 allegations against him. You know, third time will be a charm. They'll force him out. They'll just impeach him from that position. Why haven't they begun impeachment proceedings against Northam, who apparently has backtracked again and now no longer intends to even consider resigning? And what about the AG? You can't have an attorney general who appears to be racially motivated, even if he says it wasn't racial. I'm a Grandmaster Flash fan. Okay, that's wonderful. The appearance of racial animus discredits your position as attorney general within that context. Completely discredits it, especially among minority voters around the DC area, quite a large voting bloc. How do you think they feel about it? Like, oh, always knew these Southrons was racist, essentially, and you know, Northam's case, maybe you're not wrong. It'd be funny if Fairfax was the racist. I mean, he called his first accuser a fucking bitch for, you know, alleging sexual assault, so maybe he's sexist or something. And let's say the allegations are totally false. It's not going to matter. It's ultimately not going to matter because the court of public opinion far outstrips, at this point, I think, the power of an actual legal proceeding. The court of public opinion is where it's at, especially when someone is either self-promoted or in a position of political power. Certainly, the court of public opinion is ultimately what matters. That's about all. Peace out.